Hello, I'm Frederique de Groen, and I'm part of the Water Peace and Security program. In this video, I will explain the pairing of participatory human response modeling with hydrological analysis that we use in the WPS program. Understanding human responses to changes in water availability is important to develop effective water management and climate adaptation strategies. Water is of key importance for the lives and livelihoods of people, particularly in rural areas. Changes in water availability, either through climate change or human action, can lead to a loss of livelihood from agriculture or water-related ecosystem services, such as the pastures for cattle or fish production in lakes. Such changes have been related to famine and impoverishment, displacement and migration, and to social tensions and conflict. However, such impacts are not always straightforward, since people make individual decisions to adapt. They change their livelihood, stay or move away, cooperate or fight. Various factors play a role in such decisions, such as 1. The motivation and ability to adapt, 2. Resources and social networks that facilitate migration, 3. Perceptions of inequality, and 4. The need to defend one's own interest in the absence of a functioning governance system. Such autonomous decisions may cause a feedback on the water system. Various counterintuitive consequences of water and climate-related policies can result from people's behavior in response to these policies. For example, a continued water shortage after improvements in water supply as a result of more intensive water use practices. The dynamics of water-human systems are a large source of uncertainty in policy making. Not taking such dynamics into account in water resource management or climate adaptation strategies could lead to policies that are ineffective or have unintended negative social impacts. To facilitate the consideration of human responses in water resource planning and climate adaptation, it would be useful to assess the impact of society on the water system and vice versa. Assess the impact of the changes in the water system on society. Planning of water resources management and climate adaptation often involves quantitative modeling to address the interlinkages between water availability, water demand, and water regulation throughout the basin and over time. Integrating human responses in such quantitative modeling exercises is one of the ways to quantify the impact of interventions while considering the dynamics in human water systems. A method for understanding human responses in a water security dynamic is agent-based modeling. This method allows the exploration of current and future scenarios, like the implementation of certain water management measures and projections, like climate or demographic projections. The purpose of an agent-based model is to explain a pattern that has developed over time. Formulating a hypothesis as a change helps to identify those factors that can potentially explain why the situation is now different than the situation from years ago. For example, it's easier to discuss why there are more conflicts now than before than to discuss why there are conflicts. Once it is clear what pattern or change the agent-based model should explain, narratives or hypotheses of why this pattern emerged are developed. This system-level narrative elaborates on what might happen to different agent groups and why, and how the pattern of interest can be explained. This allows for characteristics of agents and the environment, interactions between agents, and external influences to be collected and combined. Who are most influenced by changes? And how are their characteristics and environment affected? What are their objectives and strategies to provide their livelihoods? And how do they decide what to do? Those narratives are input for the formulation and conceptualization of decision rules, of which stakeholder or expert validation is key. As such, the decision rules consolidate the current knowledge of the functioning system and the behavior of the agents containing important assumptions. After validation, the agent-based model can be built using data on characteristics of the different agent groups and the environment. The latter is where the coupling with hydrological models occur. Agent-based modeling is an iterative process. and it's important to verify at each iteration that the model does what was intended, to validate it, and subsequently to adjust the model rules and parameters. This can be done in a participatory approach, involving the relevant parties in each iteration. It is through unexpected model outcomes and the decisions that follow that those involved learn about how the system functions. This is valuable input that facilitates the consideration of human responses into water-related decision-making processes.